We're going live. What up, Caleb?
Yo, Anthony, what's going on, man?
Just got back from the gym. Just
Yeah,
still
you're wearing
sweating.
a tank top?
Yeah, it's my safe space.
Ah, yeah.
I'm
Well,
still
I see
sweating
that you
though.
wear your hats backwards, so
Yeah, I don't know why you're not wearing a hat. It's only the cool people do that.
got one right here. I don't think I'm cool enough today.
Oh yeah, how's your day going? Or you're actually we just had a long weekend, right?
Yeah, we did. So Victoria Day here in Canada, but yeah, I had a good weekend. What about you?
Pretty good. I was pretty productive. Changed the oil in my car with my girlfriend's dad.
Mm.
What else did we do? I went to Godrich with my
Okay,
girlfriend and we did a bunch of walking and we had what is it called? Like Australian style fish and chips. That was really
right,
good.
right.
But yeah, I think it was a very productive and fulfilling weekend.
Australian style fish and chips. Is that like
Oh, it's
just deep
amazing.
fried spider? Tarantula?
No. They wrap it in like newspaper, and so when
Oh,
you
okay.
unwrap it, that's your plate.
Ah,
So it's like
super ghetto.
it's not ghetto, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's sassy. Yeah, so that was my week. And then we watched like the hockey game for the Leafs and Canadians because they're Leaf fans. So
Mm. For for them,
I know, right?
for being a Leafs fan.
Silly Leaf fans. Tricks are for kids.
Yeah. All right. We'll get started right here. So just doing a quick introduction. This is an Idiot's POV. This is a podcast where we talk about relationships, family, faith, discipline, and also Anthony's girl issues. And today we're joined by Caleb, and also we're also joined by someone who is smarter than he looks. What's your name?
My name is Anthony, ladies and gents. What up?
What up? What up? So I want to start by asking you the question. Do you think you are a good person?
Relatively speaking, I think so. I have my flaws, but I try to do good. What about you?
Yeah, how?
How?
You don't get to pass it back to me until you elaborate. Tell me why
Well,
you think you're a good person, Anthony.
well, I don't know. So basically, I just try to treat everyone with respect and without anything in return. Um, I try to care for people that are close to me and um like the time that we told the story about where someone broke into your house, right? So it's
Yeah.
stuff like that. Um but yeah, ultimately I try to respect people as much as possible and even if their idiocy comes out, but everyone has that, so yeah. So, what about you? Are you a good person?
I
Cuz
think
I can answer that fairly quickly.
I don't think none of us wants to hear what your answer is for me, but I think I'm an I was an okay person who became uh relatively a good person, I would say. Yeah.
Just relatively?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why
I feel like
rel
even if you are a good person, to say that you are a good person is, I don't know.
I know, that's why it's a hard question to answer.
Yeah, it
Like
is.
like people tell me I have a big heart or they say that I care about people and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't know, do I? Like,
Right.
I
Yeah,
don't
you
know.
are big, but if you have a heart, I don't know.
I know. It's somewhere in there. I don't know if I have a heart or not, but we'll find out one day.
All right. So, thinking about, I guess, like the best person you have in your life. So we're talking about good people.
Yeah.
And I think for today, what I want to sort of address is faith. But how I sort of want to approach that is talking about good in a sense of like the worldly sense. So how majority of the people think of a good person. So, like in your
Okay.
mind, think of like the best person that you know. Like you don't have to tell me this person, but like just overall, just a really, really good person. Like what kind of qualities does that person have?
Well, I have a couple people in mind, but they all share qualities that, yeah, okay, so I would say the qualities are like kindness, caring, loving, trustworthy, honest, genuine is a big one.
Okay.
Um, yeah, like it's like I would say in a general picture, it would be someone that lives by a moral code similar to the Ten Commandments.
Yeah, yeah.
But for me, the person that I'm really thinking of, they like, yeah, they're caring, loving, kind, honest all the time, like without
Right.
any effort. Like that's just who they are. That's in their DNA. Yeah. Do
So
you
to
have
you
any?
then, so to you then, like it's someone who lives by a code. Like whether that code is right or not, it's someone who I guess for the most part like does good for others, but like they have a very strict set of like rules, like I said, like the Ten Commandments, and they stick to that. Like that's a good person in
Yeah.
your eyes.
Yeah. Like for example, my dad, he's not religious at all. Well, maybe
Right.
he is. I don't know. We haven't talked about it. But he I'm getting some feedback.
Got it.
Um no, there's still feedback. I'm just so loud.
You just don't talk for the rest of the podcast. I think that's one way to solve it.
Well, bye guys.
All right, is that
No,
better?
yeah, that's better.
Okay.
So one person that comes to mind that's not religious is my dad. Like he
Right.
every decision that he makes is based off of his moral code, which is he, if you look at it, it's like he lives by the Ten Commandments, but as morals, not as religious rules.
Right.
So there's that. But then there's like my girlfriend who is like the embodiment of what a Christian should be.
Right.
And I don't know, she just carries out everything with grace. It's amazing.
Mm.
What about you?
So
Like, do you have any other qualities to add to that?
yeah, I think I agree with like most of your like what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's weird, but I think intelligence is a good quality. And the reason why I say that is I think it's hard for someone to be good if they aren't intelligent because like I'm a strong believer that in order to be good, you also need to know. I think Jordan Peterson said this, like in order to be good, like you also need to know how bad it gets. So like that there's a stark contrast between what is bad and choosing to be good, knowing that bad do exist is sort of how I kind of see a good like ideal way of being a good person.
Okay.
So it that requires a level of intelligence, I think.
I would think so. But so would you also combat that or combine that with experience? Experiences?
Yeah, definitely.
Because like
Yeah.
you can be severely intelligent, but then you
Yeah.
haven't gone through any hardships. So
Hmm.
when a hardship comes up, yeah, you could think through it, but then all of a sudden it's like you don't have the experience to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's possible for someone who's just intelligent
Hmm.
to be good, but I would say like because they themselves hasn't like they haven't gone through the difficult time to come out on top of it.
Hmm.
They mentally did. Like that's not as a big of a personal sacrifice. So I do think in order to be good, you need to sort of experience like be tested like diamond.
I like it.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. All right.
And
So,
humility, I think it's another one, like self-aware. So
oh,
that kind of, I feel like, goes hand in hand. So even if you are a good person, like, and knowing that you are, but also humbling yourself, I think it's makes that person a
there,
really good person.
yeah, so I'm doing a Bible study with Jacob, and we've been really focusing on meekness and humility.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of stuff like it's so correct me if I'm wrong here. So from what I understand from meekness, it's
Yeah,
uh so a simple statement of it would be um to have control knowing you can be destructive, or you have the power to be destructive.
that's what that's being meek.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. So like that when I understood that as a whole, like that's amazing because a lot of people do not have meekness,
yeah.
especially men.
Hmm.
But then like there's the humility where it's
Right.
like don't boast and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like that stuff is tricky as well. So like that's what I've been learning. That's what I've been trying to apply to my life. But it's hard. Like the concept is very very simple and easy. The application is just like it. There's a struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
interesting.
like that statement is very similar to like use force only when it's necessary.
Mm,
And a lot of men, um, and I think I'm choosing men because I see a lot of pattern in that is they sort of live this very caged, bubble wrapped lifestyle, and they don't sort of harness the strength strength that they need, not to show off, not to kind of boast, but there will be a time where you have to use that and there are no options.
mhm.
And if you're not capable of doing that and you're just holding like a carrot in your head, like that's like what do you have to show, right?
Yeah, like it's crazy. It's but then I've also learned like there's a time like you said to use righteous anger.
Hmm.
Like can we get biblical here? Like are we doing that
Yeah,
today?
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So when uh Jesus went into the temple with the Pharisees,
Hmm.
or is it the Pharisees?
Yeah, they were there.
Yeah, so he went in and he was disgusted because of what they were doing and not honoring God. But
Yeah.
what really struck me is like he flipped tables and
Hmm.
he whipped I'm pretty sure it was the Pharisees out of the temple because it was
Hmm.
blasphemous for what they were doing.
Yeah,
But like it shows that Jesus was human. He
yeah,
had anger, righteous anger,
yeah,
but he had anger. And it was eye opening to me because it's
yeah.
like,
And same with God too, right? It's not just Jesus. Like God was angry at humanity when we couldn't figure our stuff out,
mhm,
and the
many
Israelites
many
were
times.
worse. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a rinse and repeat cycle within the
Mm.
Old Testament.
So while we're talking about anger and all of the different qualities, because I think that's a lot of way that people think about just a good person. Like in this society where like everyone is like, oh, like I'm a good person as long as I do what I think is right. So I think a good person is this, and I'm gonna do that. Therefore, that makes me a good person. But I want to sort of take a biblical twist to that and look at like the seven virtues and seven deadly sins, and then maybe
Okay.
we can talk about how that relates to us. I don't know if you have that up already, Anthony.
I think
For
I
the
do.
seven, okay, the seven virtues.
Yeah, here it is.
What are they?
So the seven virtues is chastity, sorry, temperance, charity, diligence, patience, kindness, humility.
So, of the seven, like, what do you think you do the best in? Like, which one do you relate to the most with?
Hmm. I would say either diligence or patience,
Mm,
but it depends. Like it all depends on the situation, right? Because they kind of go hand in hand depending on the
yeah,
situation.
right.
Um, yeah, I think that's what I would go with. What about you on
Why,
these?
why diligence?
You'd go diligence?
I will go diligence too. Why diligence for you?
Well, when I think of diligence, I'm thinking of like discipline and uh being
Like not
ready.
like
Yeah.
yeah,
But then also with patience, like I've had situations where I had to be very patient many times.
yeah.
And even with certain things in my life now, for example, this podcast, like it we have to be patient,
Hmm.
right? But we're also being diligent.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking like currently I would pick those two.
Mhm. Yeah, I think so too. Like for me, diligence has been always not always, but it's something that I am naturally good at.
Hmm.
So, yeah, like I have no issue with showing up. I have no issue with like showing diligence in what I do. And yeah, and I do my best in trying to keep my promise, any promise that I make. Oh, I'll do that. Like you're probably gonna see me doing it.
Yeah,
Um,
like your
yeah.
word means something.
Yeah, yeah. And I also show diligence in my faith too. Like I wake up an hour early every day to spend time with God. So that's like the time that I set aside every day, like in the morning, to read the scripture, to pray, and to meditate on God's word. So,
Yeah. Like so out of the seven virtues, I know this isn't like something that we really talked about, but the seven virtues, which one would you least associate to your current life?
mm,
So I was looking at it, I'm like, I don't know which one I'm least in. So
right. I think maybe the question then, because the seven deadly sins are like they're the opposite of that, right? Like the opposite of chastity is lust. The
right.
opposite of charity is greed. So maybe the question is, of the seven deadly sins, what do you relate to the most with?
This one's
I
yours.
can go
Yeah, I think you should go first.
first. Is your answer all of them?
No.
I think lust is definitely one, the biggest one for me. It's a lot of pitfall for men, and I don't say that to kind of justify myself. Maybe I am a little bit, but I think the society right now worships any sort of um, how do I say this nicely? Like brave people that show their sexuality by either being like wearing tight clothes or like
Or
showing yourself in front of camera. Like that's very worshipped and idolized.
mhm.
And um, yeah, I've gotten a lot better in terms of sort of keeping my that part of my life very like under control. But I think that's going to be an eternal sort of struggle for me. Like with in the seven deadly sins, it's just like okay, like how do I keep myself pure?
Yeah, like I wouldn't say gluttony.
Yeah,
Greed, not really. What's sloth? Sloth is
laziness.
laziness.
Yeah.
I'm not too lazy. Like
Hmm.
there's days that you are lazy, but it's like I struggle with lust, wrath, not so much. Like envy, I would say like I wish I had like this business that this person had, or I wish I was
Mm.
doing like gaming for a living, let's say, or
Right. Right.
so I guess it would fall under that. Um, but so lust, wrath, a little bit of envy, and I've been told I'm proud. So,
I can see that.
Josh, but I think the most would be lust or pride.
Mm.
Yeah, they're they're the tough ones because like lust, like you said, like men, like I'm not justifying this, but it's logical to me. So I work out a lot, I take supplements, I eat a lot, like it generates a lot of energy and a lot of testosterone. So
Yeah.
like I'm always not lustful, that's a bad word. Like I don't know how else to say it nicely. I
Like
like I have to daily and constantly remind myself to like simmer down.
yeah, yeah,
Like you like calm your stuff. Like
right, right.
take a second.
Yeah. I feel like it's so much harder nowadays because I there's no regulation around like how like the internet is managed. Like pornography is so big. Like I think if you type in top 20 most visited websites in the world, there's like Facebook, Google, like Pornhub is like there, like for sure there. I
Really?
think I've seen that. Like, yeah, like it's crazy how normalized like pornography is and how normalized just being sexual is, and that just makes the battle so much harder for people who like a lot of men too and women too, but yeah,
well
especially men, I think.
well let's take a second. So whoever's watching this, what what virtue do you think describes yourself? And also what sin describes yourself? And see if they correlate or see if you can we're interested. We want to know because like we're only two people. So I'm curious what everyone else thinks in this world.
Hmm.
Well, let us know what virtue and what sin.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I'm working on my pride and lust constantly. It's something that I've noticed, and like to be with my girlfriend, and if we're gonna go the distance, like I need to get those in check
Yeah,
fast.
yeah. Do you have like an accountability partner in terms of having your pride and like other things that you're struggling with in check?
Yeah, so I have for lust, I have uh well, you and Jacob.
Yeah.
For pride, like my girlfriend has no problem calling me out. And I love it
do
and
you
hate it at
how
the
do
same
you take
time.
that?
I used to take it like as an offense.
Mm.
Like, why are you saying that to me? Like, get off me. Like,
Yeah,
leave me alone. Let me
right.
do me. But um it, it came to my attention like because I've been learning about humility and meekness, it's like there's a time that you can be proud but not cocky. So like for example, if you hit a PR in the gym,
Yeah.
you can
PR is personal record.
yes, personal record. So you can be proud and you can share it with people like, "Hey, I hit this today. It's like 20-pound PR." But the stuff that really kind of hurts me is the I can be better than you. I'm
Yeah,
I oh, that's your story. Here's my story. My story's better. So like
right,
knowing to not share certain details and to let just to listen and just to be there in the conversation instead of
right.
hey, I have one better or trying to constantly relate. Like there's people, I don't know if you do this, but people tend to constantly try to relate to your story with another story.
Yeah.
So then they can be somewhat empathetic. But then like for me, I share too much information and then that just comes off proud.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I that's good that you have someone accountable looking like that you can talk to and make
Yeah.
sure that you grow off of them because yeah, they're seven deadly sins for a reason, and there are a lot of other sins too, but I think those are a very common pitfall for just men, like not men and women, but like a human to struggle with.
Yeah. Like it's a big thing in this world, all these sins, all these deadly sins.
Mhm.
Because they all lead to hurt, right? Eventually.
Yeah.
Some faster than others. Yeah. What do like?
So
Okay, go on.
yeah. So I wanted to talk about, I want to bring it back to the meekness. I'm This is something that I actually thought about for quite a long time, and I can't resolve it. Um,
Okay.
I'm just curious what your thoughts are on this. So, in order for a man to be good, we agreed that experience is what makes that person strong and good, right?
Yeah.
So think about the people that are around you that are good in because of the experience and they still chose to be good. So now talking about purity. So obviously it's good for us to be pure, and that is the way that we should live our lives.
Mhm.
But if we constantly live in purity, then we also miss out on the experience that might help us to get stronger. So where's the balance in that? Like, how much of it do you have to burn yourself off so that you can be pure? Or do you think the moment you get burned, you're not pure anymore? I don't know if that kind of makes sense.
Well, how do I say this nicely? um, I don't think that anyone is pure. The only person that could be pure is Jesus, and we strive to be like him, but we will never be like him.
Mhm.
So, if you're in the sense of aspiring to be pure, no
Right.
matter what, you're going to be burned in some form.
Right.
Now, are you should you knowingly go and get burned? No. Are you allowed to make mistakes and get burned? Yes. But if you're knowingly going to do something stupid and against God, you you already know you're doing it. So,
Right. Right.
right?
That's a really good point.
But
So then, sorry, go ahead.
I'm also a hypocrite in that sense because a long time ago I would make decisions for myself. Mind
Mhm.
you, I wasn't religious or of any sort, but I made decisions knowing full well this is not good for my body. This is probably going to get me in trouble,
Yeah.
and I might go to jail.
Right.
I made those decisions. Were they good? Nope. But I made them, and so that's what kind of makes me a hypocrite because now I know don't do that stuff.
Right.
Well, no matter what, like you know you shouldn't do things,
Right.
but at the same time you're like, but I want them.
Mm.
So it's I don't know. I don't like you shouldn't knowingly go and burn yourself, but it's okay to make mistakes.
Right. So how do you then compare um, one's life with the other? So let's say there's a drug addict who struggled with addiction for 15 years,
Mm-hmm.
had a family loss, had different like issues, and that person became, I guess, godly, and now is able to, I guess, have that strength where a little bit of temptation is going to be like, oh, that's nothing. Whereas for someone who grew up super pure, like in a lot of Christian setting, like how do you compare those two then? Like if a drug addict person came up to me and said like, you don't know what I went through, like, and like
And they're currently still doing drugs.
no, and then like they're saying like I am stronger, quote unquote, and maybe they didn't say that, but like they're that much more capable. Like how do you sort of reconcile that? Like I wouldn't be able to sort of relate to them on that level. Does that make me sort of a lesser of a person, you think?
No, you don't have the same experiences as they do, right?
Right,
So
right,
it wouldn't make you a lesser person. You just wouldn't have the experience.
right,
You may have the insight, so you may have the um word I'm looking for. You may have the foresight and the wisdom to maybe empathize with them,
Right.
right? But you don't have the experience. So technically, you do not know what they've been through.
Hmm.
That doesn't mean that you can't be empathetic.
Right.
Now, if the former drug addict turned Christian is waving this in their face, that's also not good.
Right.
Like you're basically saying, "Hey, look, I'm better than you because I overcame this." Well, then you're just as shitty as the next person. Like,
Right. Right.
like that's boasting. Like, who cares? Like,
Yeah.
I struggle with this actually sometimes till this day
Yeah.
with humility, right?
Right.
Like, there's days where I'll tell someone or a group of people like an experience, and I would share too much because I'm brutally honest. I don't hold anything back. You know
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And there's times where I'll say something and it comes off proud. It comes off like, look at me, I've been through this.
Yeah.
But in their eyes, it's why are you telling me this?
Right. And at the
Right?
same time, I think for the person who is pure shouldn't also be, I guess, talking about how pure they are and comparing themselves for someone who's went through worse to say, no, like my life is better because, I didn't do all of that stuff. So,
Mhm. Well, that's like it's if they're gonna boast about being pure, they're not being Christ-like.
right.
Jesus never boasted about himself. He only
Yeah.
talks about himself what, like maybe 7 times in the whole Bible?
Right. Right.
And when he does, it's like very vague but powerful. So like that speaks volumes to why are you talking about yourself in a manner where Jesus was like, who can I help next?
Right.
So it's yeah, because I've had people where they boast about it like, oh, I've never done this and I've never done that. I'm like, cool, you don't know my experiences, you can't help me. Like it's kind of off-putting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know. That's it's a funny topic.
Do you lose respect then for, let's say, um I don't know, a man who's never struggled with pride, or a man who's never struggled with lust, or a man who's never struggled with like sloth, and that person's just naturally just a straight shooter. Like, do you sort of lose respect for that person
Depends how
because
they
their life's been too easy, quote unquote?
see. I've encountered people very close to what you described,
Yeah.
and they didn't have it easy.
Yeah.
They've been tempted. They've had all these things.
Mhm.
They just chose not to do it.
Yeah.
So I have respect for them. It's more of the people that are in a bubble.
Right.
I would say is what I lose respect for.
Mhm.
Like you weren't exposed to something, whatever it is, but you're boasting about it like you've never
Yeah.
done it. Well,
Right.
here, let me go get it, whatever you've never encountered, and let me put it in front of you, see what happens.
Right.
Let's put you in that situation. Well, I would never put someone in that situation,
A
but you know what I mean? Like,
little psychotic, but
yeah, but you never had to say no.
yeah.
So, like, on in that sense, if someone's never had to make a decision,
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, that's nice. Like,
Right.
they may be an amazing person. Don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
but like I can't really not empathize. I can't relate to them
Right.
because like I've been through some stuff.
Mhm.
So have you. So has anyone else in my life that I am close with. But I've also tried to befriend people that are other Christians, and they would have what like a pristine life, and it's just
Yeah.
I don't have anything in common with them. I don't
Right.
care to talk to them.
Right.
You will not understand what I've been through if we ever
Yeah.
talk about it.
Mhm.
I don't like. Do you feel the same? Like, have you ever had someone that is like in a bubble life?
Um, I I think I think it's hard to live life without being tempted, and it's hard to live life avoiding all of that and completely being bubble wrapped. So, um, when I see people who are pure, um, that doesn't necessarily make me lose respect for them. But I'm curious in how God had manifested hardship in their life differently than I would have. So my questions immediately go to um, like not in a way that I typically would ask, but in a way that just tell me about your life. Like let's like I want to hear how you struggled and how you were able to do that. But a
Tell
lot
me
of the
what's in your
time,
closet.
yeah, yeah. But I do in a similar way where I think I see that a lot in my current church where uh, I see a lot of people who are bubble wrapped and they just choose to just live in a box and continue living in a box, and it's so easy to be a Christian in a box. But the moment you're outside of the box and you're tested in your faith and you're having to sort of like broaden your perspective to like realize to see how outside of your box God exists in the world, like
Mhm.
that's how you should be testing your faith. And but if you're just like, oh, like this is my people and my people are it, and therefore this is my life, and that's my life until I die. Let's
That's
just come on.
yeah. Okay, so I'm glad that you could formulate the statement that I was trying to make. So
Mhm.
like those are the people. So I've been to a church when I first started, and I was told to be open and
Right.
honest and just so because apparently these Christians in this church are receiving and understanding and whatnot. And I told just like a little piece of my story. And all like everyone would be like, basically, look at this black sheep. Look at this uh degen type thing. Like
Yeah.
this guy from the hood.
Okay.
And it's like, wow. All right. So there are people like you. Like, okay. That hurt a little bit. But you know
Yeah.
what? I don't have to deal with you.
Right.
So I'm gonna leave.
Right.
But like, yeah, those kind I don't want to say this, but I should. Like just to get it out there, because I know a lot of people will relate with me.
Mhm.
So these cookie cutter Christians
Yeah.
get under my skin
Mm.
because they'll pretend that they're great and all this stuff, but they never have to make a hard decision.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, so whoever's like made it this far, congratulations. We're super thankful.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about the cookie cutter Christians? Or how do you feel about like what I don't even remember the original question. Like how does this make you feel? Like do you have you ever been through hardships? Have you ever had to make a decision that kind of maybe was a mistake or maybe you made the right decision? Like let us know because then we can elaborate next time.
Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, like it's just makes me
Yeah.
just
They that bothers me too because
like I still love them regardless in in
yeah.
some form, but it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
mm,
Yeah.
Like
Like their vocabulary bothers me because it's so like cliche and there's no personal
cookie
experience
cutter.
behind their words and it's just empty words. It's like, okay, like I mean I guess that is a right answer. Like Jesus is a right answer all the time, but
What would
how
Jesus
does
do?
yeah. So yeah, I guess coming back to that question that I initially asked before I move on to the next one is like for people who are live in a pure mind, pure life without having to experience um from a external way, they don't look like a drug addict. They don't look like someone who's been punched 500 times. Like
I feel like you're talking about me.
no, no. Like to judge for that person to judge someone who doesn't look like that is just ignorance because like that doesn't mean that that person didn't go through hardship. And that person probably has gone through hardships that you didn't go through with necessarily. Maybe it wasn't as physical, but maybe it was more spiritual, and you just don't see it. So I think cookie cutter Christian is one thing,
Hmm.
but yeah, in the spectrum of like how much do we have to experience the world because until we have a full like understanding of what's good and bad is maybe that's sort of how we um kind of address that is like don't be ignorant, try and find out like how that person struggles. So we talked about a lot of things and I want to sort of bring it a little bit more closer to like you and I.
Okay.
um so in your relationship with God, like who is God to you?
It's funny. So I was
Is he a comedian?
no, well, at times, but he has a funny way of showing that he cares sometimes. But
Okay.
I was at Jacob's and it was me, Jacob, his wife, and my girlfriend, and it came up something like a similar question, and oh, like how do I pray and stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, God's my homie. Like I just talk to him like you and me. Like I just have a conversation. Like there's more poetic
Yeah. Yeah.
intent, but I literally like I said it and my girlfriend's like, "Wait, what?"
That is the most bro answer ever.
I know.
That's my
But like
homie.
but like in one sense he is, but in another sense God saved me, right? Like
Yeah.
he I don't know if I've told you. I don't really tell many people this, but like I I was in a very is it okay if I go like this? If I say this?
I have no idea what you're gonna say, so you
Uh,
just
It,
gotta be a good judge here.
well, it has to do with me coming to faith. I think I told you the story about the bridge. No? I didn't? Oh, okay. Uh I don't know how to describe it. Anyways, I'm just gonna say it. We'll deal with the repercussions later.
Yeah.
Uh,
By the magic of YouTube editing.
yeah. Well, it's still live, so anyways.
Right.
Um so there was a time where I lost my job, I lost my side businesses, and then my girlfriend at the time was
Mhm.
like, "See ya, I don't want to be with you," and said some pretty hurtful things that were not true, that I found out later were not true. So I was done. Like I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to like be done with this life.
Right.
So I went to my dad because I just wanted to see him for one last time, just to see him, right? And I already made my decision up. I already knew what I was doing, how I was gonna do it, and I went to go see him, and I said he looked at me and he's like, "What's wrong? I don't want to do this anymore." He's like, "Do what?" And I started crying, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Life sucks." And this is the first time since I was a kid. So this was like when I was 20, 25, 26,
Yeah. Yeah.
and this is the first time that my dad hugged me in this way since I was a kid. It was like, "I love you and I'm here." And like we don't hug, we don't say I love you, we don't like it's sparing.
Yeah.
So as soon as I said life sucks, he literally like pushed me away, like basically like held me in place, and he's like, "What do you mean life sucks? Life is great. Life is amazing. Life is phenomenal. You suck." I was like, "Oh, thanks." He's like, "No, no, no. You suck because you're making the wrong decisions. Start making
Yeah.
the right ones for things to go right." And in my head, I'm like, "Well, it was nice seeing you. I'm gonna go do this anyway." So, and so getting to the God coming into my life part and how he's my savior, I left. I said I love you, and I went to this bridge and I found this spot. I was gonna go. I was gonna jump. Done. Right. So I'm standing there, and for some reason, this the voice of my dad comes into my head and like start making the right choices. Right. Why life is great. You're the one that sucks. You have to make the right choice and all that stuff. So then I was like, I don't care anymore. Like I'm done. Whatever. Like I don't have to see him anymore. He doesn't have to deal with me anymore. I'm just a nuisance. And so I was about to jump, and then I hear a voice, clear as day. I don't have it. Does this ring a bell at all? So I've never told you this. So this voice, clear as day, scared the Jesus out of me. And
Hopefully not. Yeah.
well, it just it was like, "What are you doing?" And it was so pronounced.
Yeah.
So I look around and I'm like, I think I'm going insane. And so I'm getting ready to go again and I hear it again. Anthony, what are you doing? You have a lot of people to prove wrong. And I'm like, this is not real. Like I don't know what's happening. I don't know if I'm going crazy. And then again, it happened. What are you doing? You have a lot of people to prove wrong. And so I'm like, I do have a lot of people to prove wrong. And so I just decided to I was like, you know what? I need to do some stuff. I need to like prove that I'm not this loser. I'm not done. Like I need to keep going.
Yeah.
And so I got off, started driving. And this is when Jacob texted me. Said, "Hey, I don't know what you're doing on Sunday, but it would be awesome if you came out to church. You can leave at any point in time, just come out."
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell? I don't have anything to lose, right? So I go out, and I kid you not, that sermon, for some reason, was
Yeah.
directed at me. He wasn't like the
Right.
pastor wasn't speaking to me or any like directly to me, but it was like hitting my soul.
Mm.
And it was talking about no matter what you've done, like if you've killed someone, if you've done drugs, if you've hurt people, if you committed adultery, all this stuff, no matter what, if you come to God, you are saved. Like it hit me like a truck. I was like, wow. And so I started getting really hot, and Jacob noticed it, and I was like, man, I need to get out of here. Like I'm gonna lose it. And so we get out, and we have a conversation, and I start crying, he starts crying, and uh I just decided I want a relationship with God right there and then. And so long-winded story, God is my homie, but also my savior. Don't laugh at Hey, don't laugh at
That's cute. It's cute.
I don't
Guy's my homie.
I've never told you this.
No.
Oh, yeah. He saved my life. My dad, God, and Jacob saved my life.
Right. Yeah. That's a big story, but I'm very glad that um you have some pillars in your life, which obviously God being number one, but
Mm.
also from humans, which is like your dad and Jacob, who seems like your like a spiritual partner to sort of help you in that those times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? Like, how would you? Who is Jesus to you?
Um, Jesus, I think, um, like Jesus is a healer. I think. I've actually never read the Bible from the beginning till the end until recently, and um,
That's a long read.
yeah, just seeing the narrative of how Jesus fits in the story of the whole Bible and this and how God had interacted with humanity. I've always known stories about Jesus. So like Jesus feeding the 5,000, Jesus walking on water, um, Jesus flipping tables. But what I didn't realize when I was reading the Gospels were that like Jesus really cared for people, and he went out of his ways to show healing to people that needed them. And um, reading that really made me um, like weak in my knees because um, I felt like I could say to Jesus like heal me too. And I think there's a story about a woman who just reached out and touched his cloak, and that act in itself healed her. And um, that gave me a lot of confidence to have faith in that whatever, like, I have like a lot of brokenness like inside, and a lot of the times I don't like to rely on people too. So it's just always just trying to like put pieces back together. But I don't know, seeing that woman reaching out to like Judas's cloak was like, man, like that's that easy. Like I don't have to do anything. Like it's just that easy to just have faith and then just live my life as if Jesus did heal whatever brokenness that's in my heart. So that's sort of the way that I would describe Jesus
As a
as a
healer?
healer. Yeah,
That's awesome. Well, he
yeah,
is, honestly. Like he's a
yeah.
teacher, healer, savior,
Homie.
homie. Yeah, like it's crazy. Like, um, have you watched The Chosen? I think.
Yeah.
Have you watched it?
Um I watched the first episode.
Like that is amazing, and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
gives really good relatability because
Yeah.
it uses modern language,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it shows like the tiny little interactions that they think that Jesus would have had with like Simon or Matthew or anyone, right?
Yeah.
Even with who's that old he's in the Bible. The one like older priest guy. Um, his name. But anyways,
I don't know.
he has like this interaction with this guy that is like basically a priest in that
Okay.
time,
Yeah.
and this priest was kind of reluctant to believe him that he was the
Right.
Messiah and whatnot. And it shows the various interactions through the series, and then he witnesses Jesus heal the paralyzed man, I think,
Yeah.
and it was like starstruck. Like he was like, this is the savior. This is him."
Yeah.
And it just complete and it shows like the facial expressions, the reactions, and like
Mm.
it brings a whole new meaning to reading the Bible. Like it's
Agree. I think
crazy.
that's a really good show, and I would advise anyone who's yeah listening to check out that show. I think it is called The Chosen.
I think so.
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think there's 3 seasons out, I think,
Yeah.
right now.
The Chosen. There is 2 seasons. They're working on the third season,
Right.
I think.
Yeah, I think due
Um,
to COVID, they're the season 3 got delayed or something like that.
Angelstudios.com.
Yeah.
Watch.
Yeah, the actor did a great job
I think
portraying Jesus.
I think we could put this on here, right? I think that's
I
allowed.
don't think not longer than 30 seconds, right?
There's no
Oh, yeah, no sound.
watch season. There's 2 seasons.
Okay. Yeah, they're accepting donation for the third one, I think. Because I think it's totally run by donation, something like that.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I've seen. I think it's the wedding gift. Up to the wedding gift. Okay. Yeah, I think it's. Yeah, I haven't seen any of this.
Mm.
Yeah, and it shows like the struggle that Simon, or I guess would it be Peter? Peter is Simon, right?
Yeah.
But it shows like the struggle that he goes through because he wants to be all for Jesus, and Jesus is like, chill out, like your time will come. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. It's so Jesus is a healer to you, and to me he's a savior and a homie.
Yeah.
What else would you what have you learned since reading for the Bible cover to cover, like about Jesus? Like what have you learned that you didn't know before?
Um, I've learned about the aftermath of Christ being risen um to heaven.
Hmm.
So, leaving the apostles to do the work of spreading the word, and how difficult that was in terms of traveling and people either not believing in you or trying to stone you to death because that's like people think you're crazy. And just how much of a work that was involved in um, spreading the word because until that point, until Jesus came, like it was just a Jewish religion, but Jesus changed that and that became like a religion for the Gentiles too.
Hmm.
But they don't know that, and even among the Jewish leaders, they disagreed. They were saying, "Oh, like this is only for the Jewish people. Like Gentiles can't, like or non-Jewish people can't believe in our God because he's like Jesus is our king."
Yeah.
And obviously that's wrong. And just seeing how much of a struggle it is to um, get the news out was very interesting.
Yeah, like the different letters that I don't know, it's Paul. Paul wrote the letters, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so the different letters that Paul wrote and um just the like the weight that these letters carry
yeah.
and the lessons in those letters. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting. Like even if you weren't Christian and you read the Bible with an open mind, I think you'd learn a thing or two. I really
yeah,
do. Because originally it's well, it's the word of God, but it's also a book of teachings,
yeah.
right? So originally that's how I started with in getting introduced to faith is don't read it as if it's just religion. Read it as if you want to be taught.
Yeah.
And then that's what grabs hold or grabbed hold of me anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah.
True.
Well, we're reaching we're on our 59th minute. Do you want to wrap it up or do you want me to wrap it up?
You can wrap it up.
All right. Well, if you guys liked what you've watched, and actually if you've made it this far, thank you. Thank you for watching. It would really help if you drop us a like, subscribe, and you know what? Just let us know how we're doing. Give us a comment, or even if you have ideas for us, like let us know if you want us to talk about something, or whether it's related to relationships, or faith, or fitness, or being a gentleman, or you know what? Anything really. Like we're open to sharing our opinion, and I hope you just tell us what you're thinking.
Yeah.
But until
We'll
next
always
time,
provide an idiot's perspective, right?
oh, well, I'm the idiot. I don't know about you.
I'm an idiot too.
Hey, idiots POV, what up? But until next time, actually, what do we talk about next time? Do you know?
Why don't we talk about family?
Ooh,
So one of our five slogan is relationship, family, faith, and fitness and discipline. But I don't think we talked about family a lot, so
let's do it.
we talk about that.
All right. Well, next Tuesday, which would be what? June
June
1st.
1st.
All right.
Yeah,
So June 1st, we're going to talk about family, and we're just going to have to find out how deep we go. It's all up to Caleb. So let's find out.
sounds good. All right,
But
man.
next time, next Tuesday, June 1st at 8 p.m. See you guys then.